First introduce the treasurer of the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority, Jerry McDonald, our director from Sanders County, Montana, who has done the heavy lifting to make this next segment a reality. So, Jerry.
Good afternoon. I usually deliver a different set of statistics, but in preparation for introducing our guest host, I'd like to just draw some rail statistics that some may be interested in about the National Railways of Ukraine. The main track of the National Railways of Ukraine is about 20,000, maybe 22,000 kilometers by now. That's about 12,000 miles. About 5,800 of that's electric. Number of railway stations that they have is about 1,500. Number of freight cars, 85,000. Number of passenger cars, 4,000. Number of locomotives, 2,000, of which about 400 are diesel. Average number of employees is about 260,000. Passengers carried, and these are 2020 figures, are about 150 million. Current 2020 cargo transportation is about 312 million tons. And a little bit more of a current update, despite the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine, the Ukrainian Railways continues operating and is evacuating and rescuing millions of people from cities in Ukraine toward Europe. The rail links between Ukraine and Russia have been disabled by the armed forces of Ukraine to prevent their use by the Russians, but the railways have continued operating within Ukraine and between Ukraine and Poland, Hungary, and Slovakia. Long abandoned cross-border link with Poland was quickly reconstructed, and others, which have been used only for freight, have been quickly opened for passenger use. That's all within the past few months. The rail service has evacuated over 2 million people from Ukraine on special evacuation trains. This was in the outbreak of hostilities in late February and early March, 2 million people. And after some Black Sea ports became unavailable for grain export, rail has become an export route to Europe through several rail sections, north and south, which have been modified for the purpose. This is a testament to the durability of rail, the dedication of Ukrainian railway workers, and the tenacity of railway workers worldwide. And with that, let's give a warm Northwest United States welcome to Mr. Alexander Kamyshin.
Jerry, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor for me to present what we're doing here in Ukraine during this war. And indeed, while hearing to the figures you mentioned, Jerry, I was quite surprised. I don't believe so far that's about our country, about our railway. Indeed, we strive to survive, we strive to live even under constant shelling and keep running on schedule. Could you please help me to jump to the presentation, please?
The presentation is up, sir.
The presentation is on. I see
Yes.
just white screen.
There you go. It's on the opening screen, sir.
Fine. So we would like to tell you how it is in real life to be brave like Ukraine and to be iron like Ukrainian railways. Next slide, please. From the first day of the war, they constantly shell railway infrastructure, starting from tracks, following rolling stock, and following people. So far, we are under constant fire, and we found a way how to live with it. Meanwhile, the highest price we pay is 221 killed and 368 injured railwaymen. That's the highest price we pay for this war. I don't mention thousands of shellings of railway infrastructure. I don't mention dozens of broken bridges and hundreds of rolling stock items shelled by Russians. Next slide, please. Meanwhile, they'll shell us. Next slide, please.
Next slide.
We find a way to repair, and we do it daily. Usually, shelled railway track takes us from 2 to 4 hours to repair it, not more. They constantly shell the catenary, we constantly repair it, and we don't count those cases. Daily, they usually shell up to 10 stations, and meanwhile, we find a way how to repair. And next slide, please. And keep running. From the first day of the war, we evacuated 3.8 million people inside the country and 600,000 people outside of the country. We found a way how to deliver about 200,000 tons of humanitarian aid, starting with passenger trains, following freight cars, and we do run cargo. You know, probably we are cargo railway. Cargo is the focus for us. Before the war, we've done 700,000 tons of daily load. Now we have about 40% of that, but we keep growing monthly, and that's the main focus for us now. Next slide, please. Running on schedule is something we focus on. For us, it's important to live under the war, but not making the war an excuse. We strive to perform the schedule. We strive to be on time. We strive to deliver. We strive to deliver the highest level of service to all of our customers, not making a war an excuse for us. Next slide, please. And furthermore, and the next one, we built this year more than ever we've done during the independence of Ukraine. 2 days ago, we commissioned 22 kilometers of new track connecting Ukraine with Moldova. Later this week, we commissioned another 19 kilometers of new track connecting us with Romania. And later this September, we commissioned another 8 kilometers of new track connecting us with Poland. That's how we try to establish better connectivity with neighbor countries, Moldova, Romania, and Poland, key countries where we exchange the cargo, where we deliver more cargo to Europe. Before the war, we done 50 to 60 million tons of grain export per year. Now we do a fraction of that, like 1/3, one fourth of that. But we try to help our farmers deliver more grain on the world market. And that's where the railway plays a key role. And construction of new railway tracks, of new terminals, is one of the key priorities for us, even during the war. That's how this war made us really fast, really flexible, really brave, and really iron. Thank you. Jerry, any questions?
Certainly, I believe there are a number of questions, and I think one of the first questions may be from one of our national passenger railways senior managers, Is Al Calvin available? Al? Yes, here he is.
Mr. Kamyshin, hi, this is Alex Calvin with Amtrak. And first, by way of background, I was born in Odessa, Ukraine. I still have family there. Came here in 1992. What you guys are doing is short of a miracle. It's unbelievable to see how everyone has got together and are working under extreme conditions. And I think for all of us here, so this is not a question, it's more of a comment and an observation. I think for all of us here in this room, what's incredible is we often talk about the importance of inner-city passenger rail just as a mode of transportation, but it does so much more. You have a situation where the railroad is stepping up in Ukraine and is moving passengers under the worst conditions and saving lives. And I think it's evident. Sorry.
Al, you could be sure that your beloved ones in Odessa, if they still stay there, would travel, would be evacuated at any moment they decide to west of Ukraine, to neighbor countries. We really never stopped passenger transportation with Odessa at any single day. For us, it's important to let all people who would like to leave their cities do it whenever they decide it. Thanks for your words. It's really important to hear that from me.
Absolutely. And I think for all of us here, just understanding the impact that rail has, not just, oh, it would be nice to get on the train between point A and point B and feel comfortable, but also when an emergency happens and the roads are blocked, the weather is terrible, or you're getting bombed, it becomes your lifeline. So I think as we all talk about what rail means, we ought to think about the folks in Ukraine, and we ought to think about what the railroad has provided to them. And I hope that you continue to do your amazing work. And I hope that you understand that we all think of you every day and every night. I know I do. So thank you for everything you do. You guys are doing incredible work. Thank you.
Al, you know, everything you mentioned, bad weather, challenge, and all the rest, it's something which happened with us this February. But meanwhile, you know, as we say, that during the peaceful time, we are the backbone of economy. During this war, we became the backbone of security. And that's why, trust me, we will do whatever we have to do until the last day.
I think we have another question from, Karen. Yep. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Good evening. My name is Karen Hedlund. I am a member of the Federal Surface Transportation Board, and we have the privilege of regulating the economic affairs of railroads in the United States. And you should know that you are continually on our mind, and we are working with our domestic railroads to make sure that they continue to do their job in terms of exporting grain this year, because we're aware of your limitations. And if there is anything that we can do, and we are working with groups here in the United States to help your efforts, we will do that. So thank you very much for calling into this conference, and it's a real privilege to talk to you today. I also have 2 children whose great-grandparents came from Sheptikovka. So thank you.
Karen, thanks for your work. Indeed, for me, it's less important who is against us. Meanwhile, I know that great people like all of you, at least in mind, are with us. For me, it's more important who is my ally than who is my enemy. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for standing with Ukraine.
Do we have time for a few more questions? Would you like to take a few more questions, Al?
Jerry, I'm your disposal, sure.
Terrific. Well, if there isn't anybody from the audience for the moment, I'll fill the gap here. Sir, what can we do? What can I do to help?
Jerry, your government knows what they can do, and all of you knows what your government can do. Meanwhile, standing with us, at least in your mind, is really important for us, trust me. We are on the edge. We are fighting with those Russians. And some people say that we fight not only for Ukraine, but maybe for Europe or maybe for democracy at all. But finally, it's really important for us to know that you are standing with us, at least in your minds. That's really important for us.
Thank you. We have another question.
Yes. There has been some amazing press coverage about everything that's been going on and your really titanic efforts on behalf of Ukraine. But for everybody's knowledge in the room, it was my understanding that you were proactively moving, riding your own trains around your entire network throughout the duration of the conflict, going to somewhere new and undisclosed every day. And I'm just curious, are you in transit right now? Are you moving somewhere else safe? I know that's always undisclosed. I'm just curious if it's still this amazing effort where you're moving railroad headquarters every day.
It costs much to move around all the time. I haven't seen my family for months or two already, and indeed, we still keep running and we still keep moving on. You know that tomorrow we got Independence Day. You know that Russians are making emotions about this day. Tonight, I'm spending my night not at my home again. And that really what makes me feel wrong, feel bad, But finally, we are fighting for our country. And I will do whatever I have to do, as well as the whole company behind me, to live until the victory day.
It's really inspiring. Thank you so much.
Do we have another question over here?
It's Vern Raincock. I helped co-found the Brew for Ukraine project. We have 800 breweries from as far away as Singapore that donated $100,000 to Ukraine relief. Just want to make sure that the brewing industry in North America, South America, as far away as Brazil, is there with you. We hope as things proceed, there's no war, we got peace. So we're here to resist what's going on, and we're here to basically thank you very much for your ongoing support for your country, and we're here with you. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm really grateful indeed for every mind, for every post in social media, for every dollar you pay to help Ukraine. That's really, really much important for us.
I have another question here, and it speaks to the engineering and planning of both expansion, conversion from freight to passenger, and repair of rail infrastructure. Can you speak for a moment to the challenges, those challenges that are inherent, even to just the simple construction of rail, and what your organization, your management organization, has done to overcome them?
Jerry, what we've done in years before the war, we are doing in months now. We are really faster, we are really more flexible, we are really more ready to take a risk on and ready to move on. And so far, I wouldn't say that we got any difficulties or any problems. That's another task we have to find a solution for. And it made Russians make us stronger, finally,
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the audience?
Jerry, I would be happy to join another conference you would have. Hope that by that moment we will have a victory day already, and would be happy to answer all the questions your colleagues have next time.
Well, sir, I hope to be able to invite you personally to enjoy the wilds and familiarity I think you would have of Montana and the greater Northwest United States. And you are cordially invited to participate in any of our efforts, particularly these conferences. Thank you very much, sir. I know you have a busy day you have to be about. Have a nice evening, get some sleep, and slava to Ukraine.
Героям слава. Was happy to hear you. Have a good day, all of you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jerry, for all of your work on that. What an inspiring story for us, and a testament, again, linking to our theme for this particular summit. Together we can do this. So one additional little lunchtime piece that we will present to you before you then have a break to finish up lunch and join us at 1 o'clock for the next session is a recorded message from Oregon Representative Peter DeFazio. In retrospect, after having viewed his message, I think we need to get him out here to this region of the country to show him that there is some bipartisanship still alive in this country and in this region. And I think I will also show him the video from the North Dakota governor to help reinforce that bipartisanship still exists. So with that as a preface, I will let our good folks over there in the corner queue up Representative Peter DeFazio.
Well, welcome to the Northwest Passenger Rail Summit. Wish I could be there with you, but unfortunately the congressional schedule mandates otherwise. This is an exciting time for rail advocates. In the Investment and Infrastructure Jobs Act, we have the largest single ever investment in a passenger rail in the history of the United States of America. It's not everything we need, not as much as I proposed in my bill, but it's a hell of a lot. Now, obviously, a significant portion is going to go to Amtrak. They're going to get new power, they're going to have new trains essentially. Amtrak is looking at new city pairs and new routes around the country. And then of course the northeast corridor needs a tremendous amount of work. The tunnels under the Hudson, we're finally moving ahead with that. The others are they're decrepit. And then there's a tunnel in Baltimore has to be replaced, built in 1872. We had great engineers then, but things don't last forever. But beyond that, there is a heck of a lot of money for higher speed rail around the nation. And we've got to grasp this opportunity. Now there are barriers, obviously. If you're looking at high-speed rail, we always have issues with greenfield projects, which of course California has seen with their proposed project. And the railroads control, unfortunately, virtually all the right-of-way in the country for rail, except in the Northeast corridor. And it's very difficult to get them to cooperate, coordinate, share, or let us utilize excess capacity that they have, excess right-of-way. Virginia succeeded just a couple of years ago, and I think that's an interesting model to be looking at. It's not going to be high speed, but we're looking at higher speed rail on, part of it will be dedicated, but they worked with CSX because CSX was willing to work with them because the bridge over the Potomac River was at 99% capacity for passenger, commuter, Amtrak, and freight. So Virginia said, we'll build a new bridge over the river if we can access this right of way with you, and we can go from DC to Richmond and do it, way more quickly than it can be done now. They look at this as a tremendous opportunity. That project is going ahead, and that is a potential for higher speed, and that's what some of our city peers will work best with. High speed, obviously, as I said, has more obstacles. And then even getting to higher speed in other parts of the country needs more cooperation from the freight railroads, who have been fighting bitterly since they were obligated to give Amtrak preference when we took over their common carrier status. I'm hoping in September, and I'm hoping that you and others will reach out to members of Congress to give the Surface Transportation Board new tools to deal with the issues of freight versus passenger on existing rail, and also hopefully induce them to cooperate on perhaps using excess right-of-way for new dedicated routes. There's phenomenal opportunity out there. We need to roll this money out as quickly as possible. The Federal Railroad Administration is gearing up. They've never had this kind of money before. But we need to be pushing now, putting forward proposals, and getting as much done as we can definitively, before the Biden administration's term ends, not knowing what the future holds. I've got to say, unfortunately, most of my Republican colleagues seem to hate passenger rail. So good luck, have a great conference, be great advocates, and let's bring America into the 21st century with good passenger rail service.
As I say, we're going to have to get Mr. DeFazio out here to Montana at some point. So take a little bit of a break, and we'll see you back here at 1 p.m. sharp.